the house front of speakers is on? That's on? Okay, cool. Just making sure. All right. Here's a little Sam Cooke. Since it's February, Black History Month, from 1963. Keep moving on, keep moving on. Life is this way, yeah. Keep moving on, keep moving on. Every day. Keep moving on, keep moving on. Life is this way, yeah. Keep moving on, keep moving on. Every day. Brother, mind what you do, how you treat your fellow man. If you knew like me, you would do the very best you can. For if you spread good all around, you'll be able to sleep when the sun goes down. So keep moving on, keep moving on. Life is this way, yeah. Keep moving on, keep moving on. Every day. Keep moving on, keep moving on. Life is this way, yeah. Keep moving on, keep moving on. Every day. When I go to sleep at night, I add up my day. I think of all the things I've done and debts I have to pay. For there is one thing that I know, while you reap is while you sow. So keep moving on, keep moving on. Life is this way, yeah. Keep moving on, keep moving on. Every day. Keep moving on, keep moving on. Life is this way, yeah. Keep moving on, keep moving on. Every day. Including today. Happy Sunday, everybody. Jim Jones on the percussion. Thanks always, brother. That's our opening song. Right? We've opened. We are here.
Nice to see you all. I'm so happy that you're there. Come on, green lights on. And good morning. All is well, or all will be well. I'll try the next one. Let's see.
Here we go.
It's working. Okay.
Ah, there we go.
There we. Whoa. Do you want to hold this for me, please? Good. So it's so happy. First of all, I want to say hello to all of you who are watching us remotely out there in the Webernet. Good morning. Thank you for being part of us. And then I want to welcome all of you guys here today. Thank you for being here. I realize that today is a religious holiday from the national level, which I'll talk about, and so many people are probably home preparing the special foods, wings, guacamole, or whatever it is that people eat, nachos, eat during the Super Bowl. But anyway, I'm glad. So it's interesting. Yesterday, Annie went out. We had a couple of errands to run, and we went out. And it was, first of all, it was a sunny day. It was the first day after the rains, you know. So we went first of all to the farmers market out in Vista, because we live in Temecula, and of course, why go to the Temecula farmers market when you can go to Vista? And we did. And it was morning, Paul. And it was packed and very, very festive. And then we had an errand to run out in the wine country. We may or may not have bought some wine. And likewise, just packed out there. I mean, it was like, so people were out and about, and this is the Super Bowl weekend. And I was reading that it took an hour and a half to travel less than a mile on the strip in Vegas last night. So on your list of things to be grateful for, you can be grateful you're not in Las Vegas today, maybe, unless you like that sort of thing. So anyway, I'm glad that you're here. Let's see, we got good things going on. Jim, you got a big gig coming up this week, yes?
Wednesday, yeah.
Wednesday. Want to say anything about it, or is it a secret?
Yeah, there'll be a presentation I'll be giving on Valentine's Day, which is also Ash Wednesday, out at Palma Valley Country Club. And if anybody's actually interested in coming out, it's from 2:30 to 4. But I will need to have your name to give it to the gate to be able to get in. But it is a free event, so if you're interested, see me after service.
Yeah, isn't that interesting? Wednesday's Ash Wednesday and Valentine's Day. So I kind of think, you know how you do it. What you do is, I'm going to surprise Annie, but now I'm not going to be surprised, is I'm going to hand her a box of chocolate, and then I'm going to take it back and say you get it on Easter.
Good luck with it.
Yeah, that'll work. So how about you? What's going on with you, my friend?
I'm in the crux of a creative, it's like there's moments in my life where I feel like everything's flowing except for it was funny you're doing that thing on income. But I've got creativity, like all these production jobs, everything's going on, but I'm just in this little vortex of creativity. So keeping busy, happy, but looking for that flow as well.
Fabulous.
A bit of everything.
Good.
As
good,
life
good,
goes.
And then we have Craig, our poet laureate in-house. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing very, whoops.
Steve?
He's working on. There we go. Thank you, Steve. I'm doing very well, and I must say you're looking rather dapper, Reverend Guy.
Thank you.
Happy to be here, and happy to see all you. Glad to see the seats filling in as we begin.
Yes, bus gets here. Yeah, thank you for that. I'm feeling self-conscious because I marked ink on my shirt before service, and so, a little OCD here. I'm obsessing over that, but I should have been praying. I was on YouTube trying to figure out how you remove stains. So if anybody knows how to take ink off a white shirt other than just bleaching the hell out of it, let me know after service. So
The universe still
the
loves it.
universe will do help that. So there's a couple things going on this week or this month, or not even next month, in the near future that you should know about. One thing is after service today, we will be having the continuation of our book study. It's not your money by Tosha Silver. It's a very fun book study, so we're going to do that. And before we do that, for a very, very short, we are having a Board of Trustees meeting, and that will happen immediately after service. If anybody would like to know what's going on in the business of the church, and that will give people time to have a little bit something to eat and a little nosh and visit, and then we'll go right into the book study about 15 minutes after service. So that's going on. Coming down the line in March, we have two events that are happening. One is is our St. Patty's Day party that we're doing that on Saturday the 16th. It's at 4 to about 7, and we're going to have corned beef and cabbage, the traditional foods, and beverages, and Lee will be providing music, and so it will be quite a celebration. So please join for that. And then at the end of March, we're also doing a health fair. And this we're opening up to the entire, well, both things we're opening up to the entire community, but that one's there. If you have any kind of health or wellness profession that you'd like to be a part of that, see Charla or Andrea after service, and they'll dial you in. And that's going to be a really fun, interesting event. We've done health fairs here before, and they're really quite successful. So that's all that's happening in the life of what is. Oh, I'm sorry. That's right. That Paul has his meditation every Wednesday at 12:30. It's a great way to center yourself and anchor yourself into the week as it is. So that's good. And then I'll mention now, and then I'll mention later. We have prayer. We have prayer in so many ways. We have prayer requests in the narthex. If you fill out a form, we'll pray then. You can see one of the practitioners after service, and they would be happy to pray with you. And then also Craig will be leading a prayer circle about 5 or 10 minutes after service in the teen room. So lots cooking today. Yeah, I think we'll jump into service. So Craig, if you'd like to pray us in and lead us in, and off we go.
All right. I just want to acknowledge my prayer partner and the first practitioner from the Hilltop Center, Mary Hard. Drove from San Diego to be with us. All right. So, let's bless this service. If you like, let your eyes softly close and just let your body be present in a relaxed state. Perhaps just softening those shoulders. And this is the temple of your being, of your soul, of your spirit, this body. So just bring some life into it with your breath. And just know as you breathe, there is no limit to the breath, to the good, to the life force you can infuse into this temple. And then as you exhale, perhaps just with a soft sigh, like, just letting go. So we arrive at this moment, this celebration that we have intentionally come together as community. And we just acknowledge that in this moment, in this place, as in every place, in every moment, there is the presence that cannot be described but is felt in the deep recesses of our hearts. We call it God, we call it whatever, it is just simply here. We just give thanks to acknowledge that. And we give thanks to know that as we gather, where two or more are gathered, this is palpable, is more apparent to us. And we also recognize that we are inseparable from it. We have been created by God, of God. So we are in essence just beautiful, individualized expressions of this one life. God is life. And as we accept these truths, then we just recognize just the power and the beauty and the grace of coming together with intention. So I'm knowing then and declaring that just each of us is uplifted, inspired by the words of Reverend Guy, by the music of Lee and Jim, by the community that's coming together in unity. And that we are not only filled and overflowing, but we just bring this out to bless others as we are blessed. And so it is. So it is, we are exploring this month of February, the power of unrelenting love. And so for our reading today, of course, I've chosen a poem from that 13th century Persian poet, Rumi, because it expresses something that one of my spiritual teachers told me long ago, that love is simply losing your own identity into another. And so this poem perhaps speaks to how we can lose our identity into this presence that we just acknowledged called God. It's called Intoxicated by Love. And after the poem, we'll just take a couple minutes to just let this idea of the power of unrelenting love be contemplated within our being. So, intoxicated by love. Because of your love, I have lost my identity. I am intoxicated by the madness of love. In this fog, I have become a stranger to myself. I am so drunk. I have lost the way to my house. In the garden, I see only your face. From trees and blossoms, I inhale only your fragrance. Drunk with the ecstasy of love, I can no longer tell the difference between drunkard and drink, between lover and beloved. And so just gently arrive back in this moment. Let us each be an instrument of unrelenting love.
There must be some kind of way out of here, said the joker to the thief. There's too much confusion, I can't get no relief. Businessmen, they drink my wine, plowmen dig my earth. No one will level on the line, nobody offered his word. Hey, hey. No reason to get excited, the thief he kindly spoke. There are many here among us who feel that life is but a joke. But you and I, we've been through that, and this is not our fate. So let us stop talking falsely now, the hour's getting late. Hey, hey, hey. All along the watchtower, princes kept the view, while other women came and went, and barefoot servants too. Well, outside in the cold distance, a wildcat did growl. Two riders were approaching, and the wind began to howl. Hey, hey, hey. All along the watchtower, all along the watchtower.
Bob Dylan, thank you very much. That was a request from Reverend Guy, the man himself. Please welcome Reverend Guy Williams. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks to the doctor.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for the request. That's
Isn't it an amazing song? Okay, so how many people know that song from Dylan's performance? Right on. And how many know it from Jimi Hendrix? Of course. And how many know it from Dave Matthews? Yeah, and probably who else did it? Who knows? But I think that's one of the best renditions I've heard. Honestly, absolutely, yeah. So, Lee and I have been having sort of an ongoing conversation about poets and artists, as I'm pulling these things up here, because there we go. Let's see if this is going to work. Yeah. There we go. So poets and artists, because if you think about it, when we look at the Hebrew Bible and we look at the prophets there, I don't know about you, but my first impression of the Hebrew Bible prophets are like those guys that you see in stained windows. They're old and they've got long beards and they're dressed in like rich robes and they have like a scroll and that kind of stuff. But really, it wasn't that way at all. Because if you think of someone like Jeremiah or Isaiah in particular, they were the Bob Dylans of the time. And they were performance artists. And, there's a whole thing, we were talking earlier before service, about poets and prophets, and poets create this image of possibilities. They speak something to us. And prophets call us to accountability. They challenge us to where we may have slipped into the weeds. But both prophets and poets are performance artists. And I love this line from Paul Kingsnorth where he says, art is the search for the intact things in a world when all things are broken. Art is the search for the intact things in a world where all things are broken. And why I love this song so much is, if you go online and you try to figure out what the meaning of it is, it's a Dylan song, right? So there's layer upon layer upon layer of meanings. And you can just, because of his own brilliance of what he's taking about and what people read into it, there's, it's about late stage capitalism. It's about the Vietnam War. It's about his own personal quest, because the song was written in the John Wesley Hardy album that was written when he was spending a year almost as a recluse after a severe motorcycle accident. And there's all these things. But what we know about Dylan is that he himself as an artist was very well read. And there are lines in the song that relate directly to the prophet Isaiah, chapter 21, for anybody keeping score. This whole idea of the watchtower and looking forward. And when you read those particular verses, there's a couple lines right after where he talks about standing at the watchtower and princes keeping their view. Is another line which says, and then say to the people when they see the horsemen coming, Babylon has fallen. Babylon has fallen. And all her gods are laid into the dust. So he's speaking a challenge to the world that we live in, and just what we kind of accept as the status quo, or the stories we say of this is how it is, or things will never change, or whatever the case may be. As a prophet, what he is doing is calling us to a level of integrity, to maybe not just simply accept things the way that they are, but ask ourselves, what is really the true vision that's wanting to come forth, and where are things happening? So I want to give a caveat about my talk today. I have the privilege of teaching in the School of Ministry. And usually at some point in one of the classes that I'm giving, I give my 5 rules of being a minister. So I want to share them with you today, and I'll explain why in a second. So rule number 1 as a minister, do not fondle the flock. Do not fondle them physically, emotionally, or spiritually. It is spiritual malpractice, and it's wrong. So rule number 1, do not fondle the flock. Number 2, remember rule number 1. Number 3 is don't speak to your process, but speak to your insight. In other words, it's not my role as a minister or as an artist to kind of let you know what I'm working through, but to share with you the insights that I might have gathered in certain things. Rule number 4, never pass up a good opportunity to wait. To wait, because we want to rush things, don't we? We want instant this, and in fact, one of the challenges of New Thought is that we think that everything comes instantaneously, or something happens, but sometimes things need to percolate. They need to sit. They need to settle before we share them. And the 5th rule is, whatever is going on during the week, Sunday you must be sane. Whatever the heck happened during the week, on Sunday you need to be sane. And all of that entails, having a healthy spiritual practice. But I say that all because probably the most difficult one today for me is to stay sane. Because it was a raucous week, and maybe it was for you guys as well. Our dog went through was neutered, which usually is not a big deal, except if you have a really big dog, and he has to wear a lampshade, and he's young, and he's full of energy, and just all of that was. But the other thing was that on Monday of last week, I got the news that one of my dearest friends of 25 years passed very suddenly, unexpectedly. No one saw it coming. He was a dear friend of mine. He was the husband of a friend of mine who he and I had started a spiritual center before I came here. And it was just really devastating. And how do you make sense of somebody who was young and full of life and someone that we were spending a lot of time with, and then all of a sudden, out of the blue, this kind of thing happens? And, I think for myself, it's this. It's framing this all into the experience of unrelenting love and realizing that sometimes the insight that we gather takes us further than our comfort zone and further than the things that we know. And then also it anchors us back into what we hold deep and true in our life, some of the fundamental ones. And I have to say for myself, knowing that Sunday was coming and with everything else that was going on, I needed to be sane. And so I kind of wanted to cheat a little bit if I could. And so what I did is I looked at, I knew. It's not like I had to look it up because I kind of know this. But in mainline Christian churches, of which our DNA is anchored in, this is a very special Sunday because it's the week before Ash Wednesday, which I want to talk about in a few minutes. But it's a week in which there's a conversation about an event that went on in the life of Jesus known as the Transfiguration. And it's a very interesting story. It's a very nuanced story. Because as the story goes, is that Jesus goes up the mountain with a couple of his disciples, and they're up on this mountain, and then all of a sudden, there is this appearance of Moses and Elijah, two prophets. And it says that the garments of Jesus began to shine brighter than any cloth could be bleached or brightened. I don't know, they didn't have Clorox in those days, but it was shining bright. And the disciples were like, wow, this is this amazing thing. We should build altars. We should build temples to this and stay up here and this would be the most fabulous thing. And then it says they were covered in this cloud. They couldn't see. They were covered in this cloud. Clouds are very, they're almost archetypal, right? When you're in the cloud, it's hard to discern what is real and what is not real and what is going on. And they hear a voice, and the voice says to them, "This is my beloved. Listen to him." And then this whole thing passes. And two things are here that I want to talk about. The first is there something from the poet William Blake. And William Blake says, when the doors of perception are cleared, we shall see all things as they are, divine. Because the reality is, this wasn't a one-time event. Whatever was going on, the disciples were privy to this opportunity to see something that was always there. And very, very similar to the vision that Moses has when he sees the burning bush. It wasn't like the burning bush was this one-time thing. It was really almost a test from the divine saying, are you paying attention? Because if you're paying attention, you would see this. If you can slow down, if you can wait instead of rushing into whatever it is, you would see that every bush is on fire. You would see that this life force is bursting everywhere. You would see these prophets wherever. You would see the radiance of whatever is going on. And so there's that first step then, when the doors of perception, when our eyes are clear, we shall see the divine in all things, which is really the invitation of a spiritual life, right? To see the divine in all creation. to respond with reverence, and to be of service. That's just simply the way it is. But there's also another part of this about the story that's also really interesting, because the disciples are going down the hill and they're thinking, man, this is great. We can't wait. And Jesus says to them, don't tell anyone what you just saw until all the events are complete. And that's that sense that sometimes it's important when something happens to let it digest, to wait, because the event itself is always in context of something else. It's always part of something bigger that is unfolding, because if we think about it, and if we think in terms where everything is energy, nothing is created and nothing is destroyed, it may change its shape, the systems may adjust, but the bottom line is things are always in the experience of evolution. And so when we are in a moment, it's not the event, but it's where the event is in that moment. But how is it unfolding? Because we don't really know yet. And again, this may go back to a critique that I may have about New Thought in itself. But before that, I want to share something that Robert Farrar Coppin says this. He says, the new heavens and the new earth are not replacements of the old ones. The new heavens and the new earths are not replacements of the old ones. They are the transfigurations of them. The redeemed order is not the created order forsaken. It is the created order, all of it, raised and glorified. So in every moment it is unfolding, and in every moment something else is going on, and this transfiguration is always happening, it's always moving, and it's always going on. And so we are left with the question then, is in the immediate situation, sometimes the best thing to do is let it ferment. Let it adjust and see what comes of it, because we want to do it immediately. But sometimes to do it immediately is a way of avoiding it, right? It's kind of like certainty. These are defenses about something that may be percolating at a deeper level. So all of that is something that I've been kind of sitting with this week as we think in terms of two events that I think are both archetypal and are worthy to just sit and percolate within our own consciousness. One of them is happening today. It's the Super Bowl. We were talking earlier that the Super Bowl is kind of like one of the religious celebrations of our national religion. You know, we have the 4th of July, which is kind of like our Christmas. It's the birth of something new. We have Thanksgiving, which is kind of like our Passover, right? We celebrate this. And then we have the Super Bowl. And I don't know what the heck the Super Bowl symbolizes, because it doesn't fit into those. But it demonstrates our national religion of exceptionalism. That we're different, that we're better. And what defines us in our sense of nationalism, or not nationalism, let's slip out, exceptionalism, is this. The very food, the act, the watching, the experience, the game itself is all about the myth of redemptive violence. That somehow or another, through might and power, that we gain what we need to do. And then we contrast the myth of redemptive violence to what happens on Ash Wednesday. What brings us to the Jewish Passover, which is not the myth of redemptive violence, but the myth of redemptive suffering. Which, of course, brings us to Peter Abelard, which, of course, you're immediately thinking about. And for the person who's here for the first time, possibly, they're thinking, who is Peter Abelard? So Peter Abelard was one of the most brilliant men in European history, in my opinion. But he lived a very interesting life. He was a 12th century intellect. He was in the city of Paris. He was married to a woman by the name of Heloise, who was considered one of the most educated and radical, probably one of the first feminists of the time. But his teachings were so profound and so radical that he gained the attention of the Parisian aristocracy, particularly the hierarchy of the church, and threatened. And one of the people that was threatened by him was the uncle of Heloise, who first of all who felt that women should not be educated to the point where she was, and God forbid that she should take an educated woman and let her hang out with a philosopher. As Ralph Waldo Emerson says, beware when the great God creates someone who thinks, then all creation is at risk. And so Uncle Fulbert packs Heloise off to a convent and has a group of brigands break into Peter Abelard's room and castrates him. And he retires to a monastery. But he wrote. But one of the things that Abelard wrote about, other than Aristotle and other things, was this idea of redemptive suffering. And what that means is sometimes the things that we desire create a longing, a suffering, work, engagement. And sometimes when we're aware of this suffering, we can recognize it. And it doesn't, in a sense, make things better, but it puts things into context. Do you know what I'm saying on that one? And I think that in terms of, I've been in New Thought for a long time. And one of my challenges about New Thought is I think sometimes we deceive people about how easy it is. Right? Just change your thinking, change your life, and presto changeo. You have a prince or a princess in your life. You have a parking place. You have abundance. You have the job that you want. You have all the things that just are there instantly, except that they aren't, or they're not, or they haven't, and you wonder why. And again, then it leads us to a sense that I must be doing something wrong, because sometimes that whole idea that all you have to do is change your thinking, change your life, is just another way to beat ourselves up and make ourselves wrong. But what Ernest Holmes says, which I think is very interesting, he says, our teaching is easy. He says it's easy, but it's not simple. Or he says, how does it? It's something like that. It's something easy. It's simple but not easy. Thank you. That makes more sense. He says, our teaching is simple but not easy. Change your thinking, change your life. But changing your thinking means literally reprogramming your mind. It means drawing in new neural pathways into how you think, how you perceive, how you experience things, the context that you put things in, how our imagination works, and all those kinds of things. And in every thought that you've had to this moment that has been repeated and created beliefs, which are nothing more than habitual thoughts. You have a thought and it answers a question, and then you have that thought again and you say, well, it must be this, and then you have a thought again. And so we create these beliefs, and then we find evidence to support our beliefs, confirmation bias, all this kind of stuff. Simple, not easy. It takes work. That's the good news and the bad news. It takes work. And sometimes that work means suffering. Sometimes changing your thinking about your personal finances takes a real self-examination of what you value and don't value. Sometimes changing your thinking about love and romance means having a good look at yourself. Sometimes changing your thinking about the ideal job means really looking at who you are and what you're all about. And so really, it's a Socratic self-evaluation about who I am. And that can be painful if it's out of context. But the interesting thing is to put it in the context of this is what I'm doing is I'm engaging in something to bring me to something else. I'm involved in something to something else, which brings us, of course, to this idea of Lent. So Lent is a time when we are preparing for a new birth. But in order for that new birth to happen, something needs to pass. Something needs to give way in order for something new to happen. And again, going back to the teachings of this first century Palestinian, what he would say is he said, and he wasn't saying this, it wasn't unique to him, but what he would say is the seed has to go into the ground and die before it can be born again. And so sometimes that means letting go of something, and sometimes that letting go is painful to do. So, as a kid, growing up Catholic, Lent meant, giving up chocolate or giving up, whatever the case may be. And then I became an obnoxious, adolescent and adult. And, what are you giving up this year? I'm giving up whale meat. I'm giving up wolf milk, or whatever the case may be. And then, you think, hell with it all. I'm not going to give up anything. But now, and even Charles Fillmore, who was the founder of Unity, a first cousin to us, says, we can keep a true Lent. And then the question is, what am I hanging on to that is keeping me from the things that I want, and yet I can't imagine letting go of it because it's so painful? And then maybe the idea that I give this up is going to be very disorienting. It's going to be very painful. But there's something at the other side of that. Maybe there's this experience that I've got to die to something to be born into the thing that I desire and want. And so there is a level of suffering about that. But here's the difference, and this is the thing that I love, is that the myth of redemptive violence is a myth about separation. It's a myth that says, I'm different, I'm alone, I have to do this on myself or with a band of people that believe the way that I do. So there has to be a winner and a loser in redemptive violence. But in redemptive suffering, there doesn't have to be a winner and a loser. And we don't have to do it alone. And I think that's the beautiful twist. Whether it be in a community, whether that community be a recovery community or a spiritual community, what we realize is that the suffering doesn't happen alone. And I say this because, of course, I'm thinking of my friend, and I'm thinking of his husband, who is absolutely devastating. And there's nothing we can do to ease the pain except be with that person and witness that person and sit with that person and love that person. And there's nothing, if you are looking at breaking an addiction, that's going to make that easier than it isn't. Except if you're with that person, you can love that person, be with that person, sit with that person. As we're going through the self-inquiry of our life about these easy changes, these simple changes that are the opposite of easy, if we're in the period where it is time for us to wait, all along the watchtower, princes kept their view. But there's a joker and a thief. There's a witness, a waiting. So my invitation today is we are entering into Lent. Consider something that it is appropriate to release, because there's a higher vision that is luring you, calling you, inviting you to follow that vision. Babylon must fall. The old gods must pass. It is time to release. And maybe it is time to take into a spiritual practice the next 40 days of consciously examining and releasing, consciously examining and releasing. And then asking ourselves, who will witness this with me? Who will be there for me? Is there a community, a group? And if there isn't one, here's a good one. You know, when we train the practitioners, and I'm looking at our practitioners now, you know, one of the things that we teach, one of the things that I believe is the work of the practitioner is to love into wholeness. Because we don't have magic. We can't fix things really. But what we do is what Dr. Holmes says, is we see the condition on the outside and we heal it on the inside. And so the power of the practitioner, the power of spiritual community is that unrelenting love which shows up as compassion. Not because we're wise, but because we have done the practice of opening our heart. I was looking at Mary and I was thinking, you know, in terms of when we train practitioners, it used to be said, yeah, you know, practitioner class is this. For the next 2 years, you're going to come together with a group of people, you're going to take your heart out and you're going to pound on it for 2 years until it softens. The practitioners are snickering because they know it's true. You know, it's a practice, it's a calling, it's an invitation to see the conditions of the world, to engage in the redemptive suffering of saying, I can let these go, and to realize through the power of compassion that we are never, ever alone. So these next 40 days, as we are moving towards the Easter story, is a story about an alternative way of living. It's an invitation to let something pass. But more than that, it's an invitation to let yourself be loved into wholeness. Thank you.
Thanks, Reb. Just beautiful. Just beautiful. Love into wholeness. So I'm going to play an original song that I just came up. I've been playing this since I was about 17 years old. I wrote this song on the beaches of Queensland. You probably know it if you've heard me play before. But just the other day, I was feeling cooped up from all the rain and all the creativity. I've been working on the computer, not moving my body. And so I was in the morning, I was stretching with my yoga, and I started coming up with this little refrain that I want to try singing along, because I don't think I've come up with a more true line. It's very simple. It just says, I need that daylight, that sunshine, that daylight sun. I need that daylight, that sunshine, that daylight sun. I need that daylight, that sunshine, that daylight sun. I need that daylight, that sunshine, that daylight sun. And I was singing this. I went outside in the backyard. I looked at the sunshine, and after doing about 3 minutes of that, I felt really good. So I figured I'll use this as a mantra and see if we can sing along. Give it a shot. I need that daylight, that sunshine, that daylight sun. I need that daylight, that sunshine, that daylight sun. I need that daylight, that sunshine, that daylight sun. I need that daylight, that sunshine, that daylight sun. All right, I'm going to call on you after the chorus for that. Fall down on me. I just wanna feel the new day. Come set me free, yeah.
the daylight sun. I need the daylight, the sunshine, the daylight. We could do it all over again. So we could do it all over again. Yeah, we could do it all over, do it all over, do it all over again. I just wanna spend these moments letting them go by. I couldn't make a band move Hilltop, even if I tried. I just wanna hold this feeling forever if I can. All we need is you and me, yeah, and some oxygen, so we could do it all over again. Yeah, we could do it all over again. So we could do it all over, do it all over, do it all over again. Here we go. I need the daylight, the sunshine, the daylight sun. I need the daylight, the sunshine, the daylight sun. I need the daylight, the sunshine, the daylight sun. I need the daylight, the sunshine, the daylight sun. I need the daylight, the sunshine, the daylight sun. I need the daylight, the sunshine, the daylight sun. I need the daylight, the sunshine, the daylight sun. I need the daylight, the sunshine, the daylight sun. Yeah, thank you very much for trying that out. You know, we use these technologies to make our animals happy. Thanks for clapping, starting that clap, Paul. Have you heard that talk about the first follower?
The first follower?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He starts clapping, and everyone starts clapping. I love it.
Mhm.
Thank you, Lee. I think you got something there. It feels like the daylight sunshine.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I just felt like that tribalness.
Mhm.
Love it. In fact, I've been walking every morning in the rain, and then when that sun comes out, and I just feel that,
And I love how true it is. Like, you know, we think I need this new car, but like, we need that sunshine. It literally energizes our food and our lives, and vitamin D. We like to say, I need that sunshine. It's so true.
yeah.
And
I always
everybody
think-
at the Vista Farmers Market.
Yeah, innate.
I always think
Yeah.
of the sunshine too, just like that divine love. You know, the sun is just this beautiful embodiment of something even greater than it, and it's keeping our whole solar system going. And also, Reverend Guy, holy cow, that was such an amazing talk. All these poems are going through my mind because, you know, somehow you have a way of taking so many seemingly disparate thoughts, weaving them into something that just really causes me to reflect and also just resonate. Truth. Thank you. Wow. So anyway, I hope you all feel some version of what I felt, inspiration and warmth and sunshine. What a combination between Lee Jim and Reverend Guy and just all of you. And this is our time to acknowledge that, if you feel that. It's our time of conscious giving. It's simply as we receive inspiration to go out into the fields of our life and have some truth to hold on to in times of difficulty or when things are good, naturally what we feel is this gratitude and this generosity of spirit. So just know with me, if you have your gift with you now or if you've done it online, just know that it's just coming from that deep inner place of unrelentless love in your life. And as you give, then of course there is just this currency of flow, of goodness through you and to you. As you give, so you receive, and so it is.
So, amen. Thank you, Gary.
This morning, I felt really
it's an incredible song. It's so nuanced. Yeah. Yeah. It's a good problem. You know, performance artists are prophets. I was just telling Lee that I thought that was one of the best covers of that song I've heard. It's just really remarkable, and I'm just so grateful that you are here with us and your music. So we're just deeply grateful for it.
I'm grateful for a place where you understand what I do. Not everyone understands what I do.
Yeah. So fabulous, and thank you, Jim, always for all that you do, the classes that you teach, the intellect that you bring, the music that you celebrate with us, and just demonstrating that whoever you are, wherever you are on your spiritual path, you are welcome, and I'm just that you live that welcome. And I just am so happy that you're here. Steve, I'm looking at you, my friend. Thank you for making everything work today and how it goes, and the greeters today. Let's see. I know who the greeters. Look, Chris was a greeter today, and she was there with, help me out, Noreen was a greeter today, and Noreen is also one of the 3 graces that are in our gifts store. So thank you to her and Patty and Sherry. If you've not been in the bookstore lately, there's some really cool stuff in there. Seriously, like really cool stuff. Andrea, who works in the office during the week and is managing things all the time. It seems, all the time. You just live it. So thank you. And Karen and Larry, who had the greeters. If you would like to greet us, man, be the first face that people see as they walk in the door. See them. Mark, who is here early making coffee, and if you've not been in the courtyard, it's just amazing out there. He does beautiful stuff and all of that. And so, and anybody and everybody, if I've missed anybody, it's not because I'm ignoring you. It's because I don't know what I am. Yeah, I don't know, it doesn't matter. So anyway, thank you for everybody. And also, I just want to bring back up this whole idea of prayer. If your heart has been touched in any way, please do not leave without prayer. And I'd like to invite the practitioners up just so that you can see them and approach them. And if you'd like to get prayer, just ask one of them and or fill out a prayer request. Mary, if you'd like to come on up, I'd like to serve the invites because it looks like dude day up here, except for poor Andrea. So get some feminine energy up here going on here, which is good. And because you're always welcome here as a practitioner, Mary. So what else do I want to say? Kurt and Deanna are in the kitchen, and whatever it is, I know that it's going to be wonderful. The book study, if you are part of or just want to be part of, it's not your money. Just hang out. That'll be about 10-15 minutes after service. We'll have a book study, and then go home and celebrate the Super Bowl. And we were talking, I mean, it's archetypal, is it not? I mean, there are so many layers on this one. There's the whole Super Bowl. There's Hunter Thompson did a whole thing about Las Vegas and a whole thing about the Super Bowl, and here they are together. It's the year of the dragon, which brings us back. It's last time this was like this dragon was in 1964, and those of us that are old enough remember 1964 and everything that happened there. So it's a raucous time, so we might as well celebrate it together. And whatever team you're rooting for, good for you. What? Bread and circus. Bread and circus. That's okay. So I didn't know until Thursday who was playing.
Go Dodgers.
Yeah, go Dodgers. Yeah, it's the Super Bowl. Yeah. There you go. So with that, let us end this service before I ramble on and say something that I need to clean up. So there's one life. That life is the experience of unrelenting love. And it exists in and through and as all things. It is that which reconciles, that which heals, that which celebrates, that which lures us into the greatest, more authentic expression of who we are. It is the presence of unrelenting love. It is not separate from anything because everything is part of it. And so my blessing, my prayer, my benediction, my good word for this day is at some point during this day, may each and every one of us be surprised. May each and every one of us be brought to a place of amazement and wonder. And may that lead us to an experience of seeing the divine in all things. May we respond with reverence, and may our actions be of service. And so we let it be. So it is. All right, take
Here's
us
a
home.
song about doing the work that Reverend Guy talked about. The good thing about doing the work is that we get to do it together.
Indeed.
On and on we go, on and on we go. On and on we go, on and on we go. When I was younger, oh cowabunga, I wonder what the world may share. As I got growing, hungry for knowing, I heard a whisper in the air. It's quite a ways over there, sweet kid. It's quite a ways over there. It's quite a ways over there, sweet kid. It's quite a ways over there. On and on we go, on and on we go. On and on we go, on and on we go. I heard a preacher who came to teach us just how easily we scare. Now he's long gone, still we march on, and getting closer I swear. It's quite a ways over there, sweet kid. It's quite a ways over there. Oh, it's quite a ways over there, sweet kid. It's quite a ways over there. Go get her now. On and on we go, on and on we go. On and on we go, on and on we go. I held a dreamer who stopped their dreaming, their dreams beyond compare. Said I could have them there. Dreams worth having, it's just the way over there. It's quite a ways over there, sweet kid. It's quite a ways over there. It's quite a ways over there, sweet kid. It's quite a ways over there. Go get her now. On a Sunday, on and on we go, 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 on and on we go. Jim Jones, happy Sunday, everybody. Enjoy the sunshine out there. Much love. Thank you.